Chapter 7. My son, keep my words, and lay up my commandments with you. Keep my commandments and live, and my teachings as the apple of your eye. Bind them upon your fingers, write them upon the table of your heart. Say unto wisdom, You are my sister, and call understanding your kinswoman, that they may keep you from the strange woman, from the alien woman that maketh smooth her words. For at the window of my house I looked forth through my lattice, and I beheld among the thoughtless ones, I discerned among the youths, a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way of her house. In the twilight, in the evening of the day, in the blackness of night, in the darkness. And behold, there met him a woman, with the attire of a harlot, and wily of heart. She is riotous and rebellious, her feet abide not in her house. Now she is in the streets, now in the broad places, and lieth in wait at every corner. So she caught him, kissed him. With an impudent face she said unto him, Sacrifices of peace offerings were due from me. This day have I paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet you, to seek your face, and I have found you. I have decked my couch with coverlets, with striped clothes of the yarn of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. For my husband is not at home. He is gone a long journey. He hath taken the bag of money with him. He will come home at the full moon. And with her much fair speech she causeth him to yield. With the blandishments of her lips she enticeth him away. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox that goeth to the slaughter, as one in fetters to the correction of the fool, till an arrow strike through his liver, as a bird hastens to the snare. He knoweth not that it is the cost of his life. Now therefore, O you children, hearken unto me, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not your heart decline to her ways. Go not astray in her paths, for she hath cast down many wounded. Yes, a mighty host are all her slain. Her house is the way to the nether world, going down to the chambers of death. All right, let's go back up in verse 1. Once again, we're continuing these proverbs, these sayings, these teachings, these instructions of a father to his son. Where it's got that twofold meaning, that double meaning. We're not only just talking about, as we find out, these women of the night, and it's for one reason, that it's not to put down women. It's to use the beauty, to use all the attractiveness of that in a fleshful way, so we can understand that there's the same thing happens to our inner being, our inner man, our inner understanding, with these not gods, with these false understandings that don't help us in life. They seem to just keep getting worse and worse. Why? They take away your authority, they give it to another. But the Lord seeks to give you your abilities, to give you the understanding, so that you can stand against the wickedness of the earth. And he does it through the law. He does it through his commandments. He does it through his teachings and his understandings that he gives. And that's where we find ourselves, getting that instruction from the Lord, getting that instruction from our Father. We're going to pick it up here in verse 1. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with you. My son, once again, that one who's going to carry on that shem, carry on that presence, carry on that just like I'm there. The Lord says you represent. You represent everything you do, every way you are. Keep my words, hang on to them, these instructions, then lay up my commandments, these laws I've set before you. It's a simple thing. Keep my instruction, keep my rules, as you're going to find out there's life, the Lord said, to keep my commandments and live, and my teaching as this apple of your eye. Keep my commandments and live. Let there be life, prosperous life, good life, see, not the opposite. that which you're not wanting. You can believe that. And my teachings as this apple of your eye, as the, sometimes that's what happens. We look at the commandments as some kind of overbearing law, when really it's just a teaching. It's an instruction. It's something for your good. It was never meant to be used as a rule over understanding. The Lord said, give you the choice. He didn't give the choice to somebody else. He gave you the choice between life and death. He gave you the choice to do or not to do what He's asked. And it's up to you. Nobody's going to make you do these things. You'll have to take hold of it. You'll have to grasp it and do it. It's a little work you'll have to do. Bind them upon your fingers. 3, write them upon the table of your heart. 3, bind them upon your fingers. And you can do it with like little strings on your fingers. That way you can remember everything you do. Keep the law. Keep the understanding that the Lord gave you. Write them upon the table of your heart. Just like a notebook. Write it down so you can remember it forever. This heart, that's your inner understanding. That's that inner being is what we're referring to for. Say unto wisdom, you art my sister, and call understanding your kinswoman. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, because you dwell with, you have one Father. You go forth with the same understanding. Call understanding your kinswoman, and call understanding. We'll find out. That's the law the Lord gave you in the beginning. That was your wisdom. That was your understanding. That was your knowledge. This kinswoman is a relative, and not just a relative like a distant cousin, but this relative you know. The word is modah, and it's a kinswoman or a relative, a kinsperson, a relative, but it's it comes from the word of yada, or to know somebody you know, not just any old kinswoman, but one you have known, one who's close to you, one you are relative, close. 5, that they may keep from the strange woman, from the alien woman that makes smooth her words, that they may keep you from this strange woman. This one who has made herself estranged is really what this says, who has estranged herself. And that means to gone away from that understanding that the Lord give us from this alien woman, this foreign woman. Woman means from man, and that makes smoother words, this thing. And we find out this is where we're going to put that metaphor in, and using this as just that. And what we're talking about is this other understandings that come in that are not like to the one the Lord give you from the beginning. They're trying to entice you with beauty and trying to entice you with these other things and their perceptions and their understandings. 6, for at the window of my house I looked forth through the lattice. For at the window of my house I looked forth through this lattice. And this window is simply, we all have windows in our house, and what we do when we look out a window, we see out. And this lattice is the divisions of the window. We can put it that way because we see lattice work, and it's a cross section. It's got little intersections all through it. And that's because each one is like a little square. It's a little window inside the window itself. There's many things we can see through the lattices. And this is what we're talking about. One of these little lattices, one of these little divisions of the window I look out, I seen this. And this is where we're going to get this a story. And we'll see as we go. 7. And I beheld among the thoughtless ones. I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding. And I beheld a young among the thoughtless ones, among the ones who go about. We can tell by what they're doing, their basic actions that don't really got a whole lot of understanding going. They're young. They ain't got a lot of experience yet. There's a lot to learn. A lot to learn for a young man. And this one here just happens to be void of understanding. Unfortunately, nobody ever taught him the law. Nobody ever taught him what he might encounter in the earth. And he's really just going about it, feeling his way along like a blind man. 8, passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house. And he was passing through the streets. And this could be any street in the world. And he was going near her corner, near this corner, and we're going to find out who she is in a minute. But her corner is that place where they turn near to her house, near to her dwelling. And this is any one of them who they're at the places where they turn. These are the corners. And what these represent are the places where people try to go back to the understandings of the Lord, but there's always this one here that's ready to meet them where they turn. 9, in the twilight, in the evening of the day, in the blackness of night, and in the darkness. And this is when it was. It was in the twilight. It was growing dark. It was in the evening of the day, that portion of the day. It's actually the beginning of the day, and even this understanding this young man's about to gain. It's in the blackness of night and the darkness, because that's what's going on. It's a time of where you can't hardly see. It's a time where there's an inability of proper judgment. 10, and behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot, and wily of heart. And behold, there met him a woman with this attire, or the dressings, or she appeared to be this of a harlot. And this we're going to find out because of her, where she was at, how she was dressed, her positioning, and all this gave the appearance of this one who may be a harlot, and she was wily of heart. And wily of heart, she was more than just wily of heart. The King James Version says she was subtle. The word is not sar. What it means is she was to guard, to watch. And so she was like one of the keepers of understanding. And we'll find out, even like the adversary, or this adverse one, if you would be watching and have understanding, you would be able to avoid her. But if you don't, we'll find out it's like a trap or a lure. This is what it means to be wily of heart. She knew who she was dealing with and how to deal with it. And this she, because it represents this representation of beauty, of this beautiful, desirous thing. She is riotous and rebellious. 11. Her feet abide not in her house, for she is riotous and rebellious. She is contrary. She causes trouble. She is rebellious. She is indifferent, and especially to the teachings of her father, who give her some understanding even in the beginning, but we'll find out she didn't listen, and her feet abide not in her house, and her paths don't go in the way of her own house. We'll find out she is out playing the harlot for herself. 12. Now she is in the streets, now in the broad places, and lieth in wait at every corner. Now she is in the streets, even now. She is there, now in the broad places, even now. In these broad places, even these places of the market, and the wide places, and lieth in wait at every corner. She lies in wait at every corner, she waits for her victim, just like a snare or a trap. One who it's the same thing, and that's what the comparison we're going to use. Lies in wait at every corner. She's not alone. There are many, but we're using the whole thing as one persona, just like this harlot, these understandings that men have, and they have placed themselves on every corner, every high place, every pleasant place. And this is the understanding we get. Where every corner, every place where they turn, every place where they try to return, there she is, 13. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face she said unto him. So she catches him, and she goes up to him and kisses him, greets him with this impudent face. She says unto him, I'm an impudent. What we mean is that with a sincere face. She's sincere in everything she says. 14, sacrifices of peace offerings were due from me. This day have I paid my vows. These sacrifices of peace offerings, in other words, she has become clean, because a lot of people don't know there's a law that deals with the cleanliness of a woman after her time. And that's what she says. I have paid my vows. I am clean. This day have I went. And 15, therefore came I forth to meet you, to seek your face, and I found you. Therefore came I forth to meet you. I've been looking for you. I've been waiting for you. And I found you, she says. 16, I have decked my couch with coverlets, with striped clothes of the yarn of Egypt. And I've decked my couch, that place where we'll lie, with these coverlets, with these coverings, with these things that are going to represent. These things that are going to represent. They have a representation with these striped clothes of the yarn of Egypt, because they have these weavings and these stripes and these colors, these appearances of these fabrics, of these coverings of Egypt. Egypt's that place of holes, traps, snares, pits, whatever you want to call it. In other words, we get this insinuation that it's made beautiful, but we'll find out. It's like a lure. 17, I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. I perfumed my bed with this myrrh. I've made it ready. I've made it attractive. I've perfumed it. Give it some pleasantry. 18, come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. And come, let us fill our love until the morning. And with every word, we'll find out she is trying to lure him close. And that's this understanding we're trying to get. And with this same intent, with this same thing, is what happens to our soul, as we'll see this one who commits this sin that the Lord is asking not to do. 19, for my husband is not at home. He has gone a long journey. For my husband, my tender, this one who keeps me, is not at home. He has gone a long journey. My husband's away. And the sin is made known. She's not only a harlot, but an adulterer, for she has forsaken her husband, this one who tends to her. 20, he hath taken the bag of money with him. He will come home at the full moon. He's taken the money with him. He's gone. And he's not going to be back for a while. In other words, depending on what time of the moon it was at that period. This word full moon here, I believe if we go to the King James, it says the day appointed. The word is Yom Kippur, and Yom is the day, or that time, or that period of the full moon. And the word Kaseh could come from the word Kasah, but Kasah would mean to hide, that period where the moon is hidden. But we won't get into that at this moment. 21. With her much fair speech she causeth him to yield. With the blandishments of her lips she entices him away. And with much fair speech she causes him to yield. She finally causes him to fall, and he does. He falls down. With these blandishments of her lips she entices him away. With much speech, and it'll be whatever it takes. whatever it takes. He's got all the money. I don't have nothing, whatever. It's always going to be the same old thing. Because this is how it works. It's like a trap. It's a snare. It's one of them. And it's an easy one to see. 22. He goes after her straight away, as an ox that goes to the slaughter, or as one in fetters to the correction of the fool. He goes after her straight away. He's taken. He's gone in. And it's just like an ox that goes to the slaughter. It don't know where it's going. Or as one in fetters to the correction of a fool. Once bound up, he's taken off to be corrected, to his time of correction of the fool, one who acted foolishly, one who had to be corrected. 23. Till an arrow strike through his liver, as a bird hasteneth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is the cost of his life. And it's till an arrow strikes through his liver, as a bird that hastened to the snare, just like one who's been shot. Just like this bird, all of a sudden the snare goes off, and the bird's taken. Just this arrow goes through your liver. That's your wealth, your richness, and you're brought down. The fullness you've been, and you don't understand. It's at the cost of your life, because what's going on is there's this committing of adultery. The Lord has said, you shall not do that. And it has that twofold meaning. Not only have you gone into the foreign woman, and this one that has estranged herself, or she's not in accordance with the law, but now you're not in accordance with the law. You're not in accordance with the Lord's understanding. 24. Now therefore, O you children, hearken unto me, and attend to the words of my mouth. So now, listen, you children, what I got to say, and attend to the words of my mouth. Don't think you can get away from it now. See, it's been known. 25. Let not your heart decline to her ways. Go not astray to her paths. Don't let your heart go down to that point, that understanding that she has, where she knows the way. She's got all the understanding that it takes to lure you off, just enough to attract you, that little sweet cookie I've talked about in the past. Whatever it takes, it doesn't matter. It's all the same understanding. 26. For she hath cast down many wounded, yes, a mighty host are all her slain. For she's cast down many wounded. There's a trail of blood behind her. Mighty host has all her slain, and many has she slain. Why? They're slain by her understanding. They're slain by this, her knowledge, her wisdom, her ability to do that, to attract. And we're talking about the one that stands in the places where they turn. And she tries to lure them off to a different way, to a different understanding, to try to make them transgress against the ordinances and statutes the Lord already put on your heart. He told you it wasn't right. He told you there's something wrong. 27. Her house is the way to the netherworld, going down to the chambers of death. And that's where you'll find it. Her house is the way. If you want to go there, that's the way. There it is. Just open the door and go on in. That's the way to the netherworld. That's the way to death. If you want to go that way, you can go that way. It goes down to the chambers of death, and that's Sheol. You can call it whatever you want. It's the place where death is, but we don't want you to go that way. We don't want you to go that way. We're going to move forward to Proverbs 8. Turn and return.